Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Bad Decisions Club presents Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Yes, we are back. We have never been more back. And back with me are these wonderful players. I'm not going to try to do the alliteration again. Why don't you tell me a little bit about who you are and who you're playing? There are characters all over the place right now, right? One of the things about weaving all these separate stories into one larger meta narrative, which I did not intend to do when we first started this campaign, is that there are lots of characters happening. So, who are you most likely to be starting off as? We'll start with Jeff.
Yes, hello. My name is Jeff Holland, pronounced he, him. I'll be playing Calder Creed, our resident sorcerer, and today savior simulator.
Potentially, depending on how things go. How about Jen? Who are you? Who are you playing?
I'm Jen. I'm also the Swedish Geek Ball. I'm going to be starting out with my love, my wonder, my beauty, Caritha. And possibly throw in some Maven, but I don't know.
Possibly. I have some plans. Maven may come in as a note, and I'll get to the other two you in a second. If you make a character change, just let us know, because we're not really doing a whole lot in the way of costuming now, right, at the moment. So all good.
I
all
got
good.
real lazy at the end.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You got to the point of laziness in the way that I have never done it. It's okay.
Speaking of which, Em, it is very, very, very good to have you back. We know that you've not necessarily been feeling well for the last couple of sessions. Why don't you tell us?
Bad, y'all. Don't do my life.
Why don't you tell us who you are and who you might be playing today?
I am one silver key. I'm on silver key on all of the things. I am probably gonna be playing Ghost and maybe somebody else. I think possibly Vic.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be doing some planning, Vic would be a good person to have in there. Yeah,
I have all the characters.
So Ghost, the incredible, hilarious, semi-Russian warrior, and and Vic, the magical sysadmin, basically, who is accurate. Maintaining the Forge of Fury from behind the scenes, while all of the people, building the items get all the glory. You make sure everything works properly. Finally, Gail, same questions.
Hi, I'm Gail, or Olivia, she, her, and I will be playing Echo tonight, my goblin monk cleric, he, him, because my other character, Charlotte, is still in Baba Yaga's hut. Don't worry, we'll get back to it eventually, I'm sure.
You assume. You wrote me a blank check. You said, don't tell me what happens to Charlotte until it becomes relevant, and I am taking that very much to heart.
She's in the hands of the narrative now.
And you can trust me. You know that I would never do anything horrible to any of your characters. Okay, I can't even finish the sentence. So, last time, it was a party. Oh man, was it a party. There's really nothing like a party that happens right after a life or death combat, or so I'm told. So in the session before, you defeated a Chardalon's avatar, you came back down, and in the last session, we finally got to see Meepo tying the knot. We got a bunch of speeches, both from our wonderful players and from a few guests, and some of them were funny, and some of them were very heartfelt, and some of them were all over the place. I'm looking at you, Clarion. And there was also, after a very nice ceremony, some wheeling and dealing, some random NPCs that I kind of made up on the fly. A little bit of politicking going on back and forth. Jarlaxle made a very small cameo by giving Caritha a wink and taking off. We had a cameo from Sebastian Crow, which was pretty awesome. And that was about it. It was a pretty talky episode, which I really liked. Not a whole lot in the way of dice rolling or combat.
I mean, there was the bouquet toss, but that was about
There was the bouquet toss, which was
the best form of combat.
Perfect. And then there was a thing that, though I knew it was coming, I didn't quite expect, and it was pretty awesome. And that was Calder and Echo. Was it just you two, or did
And Kretha.
and Kretha
Yeah.
went down to the grove underneath the Sunless Citadel, which you haven't been to since defeating Belak back in literally over 4 years ago. For folks who are watching, when we're recording this, it has been almost exactly 3 years since Clarion originally died to the Roper in the Forge of Fury. Yeah, it's been a long and winding road, as it were. But I lost track of my thought. Where was I going with that?
We were in the grove looking, which is
Right.
now Calcrix's lair,
Right.
looking for the remains of Echo's father.
And you found the sort of mass grave that they made for all of the remains that Belak just kind of strew about, right? He just kind of was not very careful with the creatures that he turned into undead or did experiments on or whatever. So very respectfully, the kobolds and Urki Timbers had sort of gathered them all into one place and had to make do with a mass grave. You found, I believe, most of a skull.
A skull and a few other bones.
And a few other bones that you knew belonged to Echo's father, whose name is Cynric?
Cynric.
Cynric,
Yep.
yes. You just told me that like 10 minutes ago, but I'm still proud that I remembered it.
Yay.
And you're bringing
Yeah,
those
we'll say it was 10 minutes.
and you're bringing those pieces back home, so that you can have Calder cast Resurrection and attempt to bring Echo's father back.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a bit of like, we should do this now before the end of the world talk. And Echo's like, oh, okay, like tonight? Oh, okay. And so, like, we left off right as we were stepping through the teleportation circle back to the Stone Tooth.
It would be interesting if you brought him back to life just for the world to end like a week later.
Right? But, like, at the same time, you won't have a chance later if the world does end.
Did anyone want to add anything else? That was pretty much the size of it, right? The wrestling over the bouquet was probably the highlight of that evening. It was really fun.
There
There was
still
a lot of
wearing the
dancing and
Now, I have not recently watched the VOD of last time. When you returned, did I greet you with someone, or
You left off
with
before
you
describing what we were stepping
about
into.
to step? Okay, cool, excellent, wonderful, fantastic. Okay, give me just one moment. I'll cut this part out because I need to look at a couple of things.
Are we still recording?
Yes, we're at 8 minutes.
Cool.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump over. Where is it? Okay, friends, we begin our story today in the teleportation room of the Stone Tooth Citadel. You pop into existence. How much has everyone had to drink?
Kretha didn't drink anything. Like a good
Kretha's
girl,
off
but
the
she still
sauce,
has to
yeah.
roll to see if she's gonna vomit. So, face like
You mentioned
Face
it. Give me a Constitution save.
yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
You
I
have
mean,
advantage, right? Because you have Dorgadin with you.
I do have Durgadin with, but I don't know if that's considered advantage to stop her from throwing up from.
Well,
She's
he counts as
even with her
a
alive.
belt of Dwarven kind, so I believe you get advantage to
You do get
Constitution checks with that.
You do.
Oh.
Well, we'll go ahead and take advantage of it. If nothing else, you're beginning to get used to this.
We'll say that, yeah.
But you might still do poorly. We'll see.
I didn't do poorly. All right.
A 19.
I would have done poorly if I'd have been the second one, though.
So it's like
All right.
it's not good. Yeah, it's not good. You feel dizzy. You feel like, but you kind of swallow it down and like,
Swallow it down.
and you're fine.
And,
As usual, there are a few shield dwarves that are sort of guarding the inside of the room. As you teleport in, they
One
they
has the
We
bucket,
sent. Yeah.
the really pretty, like dwarven bucket that was made specifically for that purpose.
Yes.
Um,
And we did send like Barnabas and like his whole retinue through first.
Gotcha.
So like
Yeah.
we are the last people to come through.
I would
And
not
it's
have gone through first. if
probably 7, 8 a.m. at this point, right? Because kobolds do their thing at night, and it's been quite some time, and it was all night, and now it's probably daybreak. At least out there, right here in the Stone Tooth, there is no day or night, and you're greeted by the shield dwarves, who begin by like lifting up their spears, of course, but then set them down. It's their job. It's what they do, and.
We're like a minute behind the other group that came through. Y'all can chill a little bit.
One of them rushes forward to take the bucket away, but then notices that Creetha seems to be doing just fine. And he says, "Welcome back, Forge Mistress. Mr. Creed. Echo." And I think Ghost is there as well.
Yeah.
It's quite a party.
Ghost.
You remember my name this time. Excellent. Yay, I'm here. Oh.
There was wine in
Ghost is
dancing,
mad.
so I am extremely happy.
Did anything fall apart or catch on fire for like the day we were gone?
No, but I'm very glad that I'm the one to tell you. No need to seek him out right now, but Marquis Durashad has made his presence known here in the Stone Tooth.
Ah.
Was it Marquis? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so good at being a DM. Is present and has been, well, you know how Hyacinth is.
Wait, so he can travel, but he chose not to come to Meepos? What? Like Echo's a little bit of like he's past the buzz of being drunk, but he's not quite sober yet. He's at that kind of like tired stage where everything's happening a little too fast.
Well,
Wait, what?
I am sure there's a good reason. I'm sure it's fine.
you all
Yeah.
appear exhausted. Perhaps I should
yeah.
prepare some rooms for you.
Yeah.
We actually would require a reasonably sized space.
Very well.
Like it should be a room with like a bed in it, right? Like
At least 2.
like sleeping is going to happen. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Echo's just kind of muttering to himself.
We could always just have extra beds put in my room.
We
And
could
I
also
can
make
sleep
use of the dignitary
elsewhere.
suite.
I think that would be a little overwhelming. I think let's do Creetha. You've got like 3 different rooms in your suite. Let's go there.
I do. Let's go there, and you will have plenty of privacy. I don't necessarily have to stay there.
Is Barnabas still in the general area? Because again, he was only sent. there,
Yeah,
like, 2
he'll
minutes
be. He
before we
won't.
were.
He's not in the room with you, but as you exit the teleportation circle, he is, receiving a report from Sven as you come out.
Looking just as tired as the rest.
Looking
of us.
just as tired. Now, Barnabas did not stop himself from partaking. In fact, he had at least one drink of whatever it was that Clarion was drinking,
Oh,
And
yeah.
then more
yeah.
drinks later.
and then many more drinks later. But him being a hardy dwarf, you wouldn't know it to look at him unless you knew what to
Yeah.
look for. Like Echo
The
can tell
only
that he's
reason
drunk,
Creetha
but like.
did not was that she knows better now.
So he's receiving a report. He's not making any important decisions. What do you all do?
I think Echo is like, cool, he's not here. I'll talk to him as soon as he's free. Turns around and looks at Calder and is like, okay, do we need any like materials or like ritual bits and pieces that we should gather?
I will give a partial list of some of the more common spell components. Because I don't want to tip anybody to what we're doing.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, some incense, a little bit, like a
Yeah,
little
literally just that.
statue,
Like, I'll need chalk. I'll need
candles.
I'll need candles. I'll need incense, and I'll need someone to stand guard. So
There's
bat guano?
plenty of that in my
number
room.
1.
I didn't hear either
Any of that.
before we were talking.
Sorry.
Go first.
Oh, I said standard ritual kit number 1.
And I said bat guano because that's always my favorite.
And I said, there's plenty of that in my room.
Okay, cool. Turns to Ghost, who I assume, like, as a you're a full elf, like, doesn't
Yeah.
show the drunkenness, right?
Nope, I'm fine.
I'll turn to Ghost and be like, hey, so you weren't there for the planning of what we're going to go do and create this room, but I would appreciate you coming along if you're not
What?
super in need of like passing out right this minute.
No, I'm actually kind of thirsty.
I have alcohol and water and
Nice.
juice and wine. All there. Come with. We will. I got you all. I got you all. I've
Cool.
been trying.
Very tired and still a little bit buzzed Echo is trying to figure out how to casually mention that they're going to go do this major ritual to Barnabas.
I was going to ask if you were going to, like, she leans over. Are we going to tell the king or wait to ask forgiveness after?
I don't think he'd say no. I just...
And it's not while it is a powerful spell, it is not the sort of thing that should cause too much damage or complications to what we're already dealing with. I'm well aware of the magical effects and defenses of this castle. I know of nothing that would interfere with a necromancy ritual of this kind.
Yeah, and Dell kind of took care of the major desecrated area in here, so like it's mostly good vibes now, or at least neutral vibes.
Yeah, and
Magic-wise.
that one spot, if anything, would have made the spell easier. I wouldn't have recommended using it, but easier is not the same thing as good.
It was already like double haunted, so like
The dwarves who greeted you at the teleportation circle, they kind of look at each other, and they begin to withdraw, and one of them mouths the word necromancy as they're stepping away, and they will go
Healing
off
is
on their other
necromancy, you Philistines.
It's conjuration, actually, but okay.
Most major healing spells are actually necromancy.
I'm going to smack you. I'll smack you with a scroll of revivify. See what you have to say about
Got smacked. Oh shit.
Barnabas, it turns out, as soon as the report is made that everything is safe, he is going to find his bed. So you can make a report to him or let him know what you're going to do if you wish, but he will be very quickly retreating to his quarters.
Yeah, I think Echo's going to be like, cool, I'm gonna go clue Barnabas in. I will meet you guys at Kretha's room in like 2 minutes. I'll be right there. And he will follow Barnabas and catch up and be like, hey, just wanted to give you a heads up because I know sometimes I jump the gun on a lot of things and just fill you in later, and that's not, always the vibe I'm aiming for.
He gives a semi-exasperated sigh as you're leading up to the thing you're gonna say.
We're gonna go do a magical ritual in Kretha's rooms. We might. It's just very like.
I get nervous when you get cagey.
I spent some time during the wedding searching for my father's bones. We found some of them, and I want to see if maybe we can resurrect him.
He just stares into the middle distance for a moment, and he says, I'll support whatever you want to do.
Thank you. I think Echo gives him a kiss and then hurries off.
He's muttering to himself as you walk away. Something about crazy goblins and how did he get himself into this situation?
Question.
Yes.
At this point in the morning, is because he's obviously been doing a bunch, is Kevin on shift or off shift?
I'll say at this time he is just getting on to shift. Like he is just like he's basically taking over for Sven as like the big cheese.
Sounds good. I wanted
moment.
to know whether he was going to be in my rooms or not.
Oh, if 1 or 2 periaps of health would probably also be very good, but or at least one for him.
Yeah. Remind me? I'm going to pull up that item.
it helps you heal up super fast, and it's just mechanically like it gives you advantage on things like not dying.
And it's only uncommon. Yeah, easily enough found in this place of wonder and magic. You're immune to contracting disease is the basic thing. Yeah,
Does it require attunement?
I'm checking. I don't think so.
I believe it does, actually.
It just says uncommon. It does not say it requires attunement.
Perfect. That's something that most of us should have, actually.
Well, it's,
Again, at this stage in the game,
only track so much.
like gold and magical items on a personal level, and like uncommon magical items, not a huge deal. Yeah.
Like we're at a stage of our like wealth and development that we should probably like be festooned with at least minor magic items.
Sven will attempt to walk up and have a chat as you all are walking towards Kreitha's room. Do you let him talk or do you dismiss him right away?
Is he approaching Echo catching up, or the other?
He'll approach after you get. Echo, you're quick enough to catch up to them as they're moving to the rooms, right? The Sunless Citadel. We were just there. The Stone-Tooth Citadel is big, right? It's a lot bigger than the map was in Tales from the Yawning Portal. So you've got a little bit of a ways to walk, and he'll kind of like try to catch up to you, maybe as Echo is catching up to the rest of the group.
Yeah. Well, Echo won't brush him off. Maybe, before getting into the group proper, will be like, "Oh, hey Sven, what's up?"
Just wanted to check in and let you know that Master Hyacinth has arrived to offer some financial support for our cause.
I love that man.
He's provided a substantial amount of funding for our early magical item production, so he's being given an extensive tour of the grounds as we speak.
Cool, and you're avoiding him, I see.
Not, yeah.
I remember the last time you and he were in the same place. He wasn't exactly happy with you.
Have a great deal of respect for Hyacinth, but his wit is as sharp as his knife, and I've seen both.
All right, is that all?
Unless there was anything else. The preparations are being made, but we don't have to speak right now. I imagine that you want to rest.
Yeah, rest, take a shower. I know you can't really see it through the seaming, but like I'm still pretty covered in blood. We had to fight like an avatar of an ancient dragon at the wedding. It's okay though, we handled it, it was fine.
For the second time in like 10 minutes, a dwarf looks off into the middle distance and just decides not to engage with your nonsense and says, "Oh, well, that's
You would have really enjoyed it, I think. How about to do the final stab?
Yeah. No, Kreitha took it out.
Only because everyone else did a good job leading it first. I'm not that good.
We did also have what?
Kreitha, I swear I'm going to...
3?
Was the king there?
I am not be humbling myself. It was the avatar of an ancient dragon. It was a team effort. It can be a team effort.
Yeah,
I did not
let it be a team effort.
But do you want to know what a percentage of victory of an ancient dragon is?
A lot.
Sven's just gonna back up slowly as you're arguing and make his escape.
Yeah, no, Barnabas was there, but he didn't get in the fight. He was being good. Okay, bye.
Sven leaves, like is in the process of leaving, and goes to drapes an arm around him. You have to understand, they did not let me fight. It is not fair. I will tell you the whole story later. You may go now. I will let you go. I am letting you go. Goodbye.
And for the second time in about 10 minutes, a dwarf walks away from you, shaking his head and muttering about how he got himself into this mess.
At least they're not using the N-word.
Ghost, I mean, I'm sorry you didn't get to participate either. I thought, you'd be running with everyone towards but I heard like you and a few of the other guests like went like the completely other direction while trying to evacuate. So like,
I was helping evacuate, and then I got sidetracked. But I did make about 40 gold.
I mean, anytime.
Great.
Anytime you yes.
Most people like lose money and shit when going to a wedding. Getting it when you're not the people being married is, you made out pretty well.
That's what I thought.
Well, let's head on before any of us pass out.
So you find your way to your rooms, and Kretha, despite being a very small being, has, being the mistress of the forge, fairly extensive rooms. So think like a central suite with multiple bedrooms branching off of it. There's an in-suite kitchen, a magical midden that we talked about inventing in a previous session, where there's like a chamber pot that just automatically magics away whatever you put into it.
And funny, none of the beds are the same as what they were when this suite was chosen. They all seem to be much larger in length.
Why does it smell like wet dog in here?
I don't know. I will have to speak to the cleaners.
Beware questions that you do not want the answer.
Bonk.
Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go into because we in the map in the oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of this fucking mountain.
Stone Tooth.
Stone
Stone
Tooth.
Tooth, yeah.
In the kitchen on the original map, there's faucets and stuff, so there's running water, there's plumbing in this mountain. Echo's gonna go take a shower or a bath real quick, and also wash off the bones.
Makes sense to me. What's everyone else doing while Echo's cleaning himself up and preparing himself mentally and physically?
Calder's waking up. He's going to get cold water to splash his face in, familiarize himself with the ritual again before starting the process of setting up the ritual circle.
Kretha starts gathering all of the things that she knows that she has and can easily access for the ritual.
And
starts putting them next to Calder.
Ghost is just going to find a spot and sit because Ghost is like, I do not know magic. Thank you.
You said something about booze, right?
Yeah, I'll drop by booze and food at Ghost's side, but I'm gonna look at it. Ghost, your purpose when this starts is to be the lookout, just so we're not disturbed or anything.
Oh, this is an illegal thing to do? I
More
thought you
than
ran the place.
It's a delicate thing that shouldn't be interrupted.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it illegal, but
Lady Regent, I want your permission to perform this ritual.
you have my permission to perform this ritual.
Good, as I
Oh,
mentioned.
wow, it's no longer illegal. Are you saying this out loud?
No, I'm. Yes, and so, but Ghost, it is a delicate process that can't be interrupted, because if I screw up, my soul could be lost to where your mom lives, and I would rather not have that happen.
Yeah, my mom doesn't always like all of my friends, but I see.
That is her reputation.
She's cool.
Oh, I
First of
believe you.
all, best mom, A+ mom, very good. At her job, she just doesn't like my friends. She says they are a bad influence on me.
I would argue the opposite, but that's fine.
I do not know what you mean, but I will accept it anyways. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then he whispers, very stage whispery to Calder. That is the right thing to say, yes?
You're good.
So, Echo gets washed up.
Yep.
Ghost takes a few drinks.
Hell yeah.
Calder prepares himself. And Kretha very quickly rearranges the sheets on one of the beds so that it doesn't look like they were recently slept in, quote unquote. And let's talk about how this starts.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Echo and Calder sort of take the lead here when it comes to description, since it's basically your show. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think Echo comes back out. He's not in the full wedding outfit anymore. Just casual wear tunic stuff. Has the bones. They're all, they don't have dirt on them any longer. That sort. It's, still on the cloth that Calder wrapped them in before, lays them out on, like, not directly on the hearth, but like on the hearth rug. So it's a nice, warm, well-lit space. Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to his mind is, Calder, you don't speak Goblin. My father only ever knew how to speak Goblin.
To wit. Like, I have been studying Goblin for what is now, like, however long has been since the start of this set.
I've been using magical Duolingo.
Yeah. All right, so you do speak it
Let me find my language list.
fluently? Echo asked.
He will give, like, a functional conversation bit.
Okay. Yeah. No. That's not half bad. That's good. That's pretty good.
I'm sure it's going to fall apart immediately when I get into more complex sentences, but it'll serve.
Yeah. I remember when I did this with Meepo for Clarion, and I actually had to, like, reach across a threshold to him and, like, call out to him. So
The ritual will be similar, but really very different. The staff comes from it uses magic that comes from a very different place than mine.
yeah, well, that's why I invited Ghost, because Ghost is actually from the Shadowfell, so I figured it might help with bridging the gap there a bit. Yeah.
This body should serve as a conduit, so I should be able to hear you and speak to you, but my focus will still be projected into another space.
Okay. I'm wondering if I should do something, like, first, like.
Echo's antsy.
I'm looking through ceremony real quick, see if there's anything. Like, funeral rite doesn't really
guidance
apply here.
Like, you can't go wrong with guidance.
Yeah, he will guide Calder, and also he's got his holy symbol out. And okay, all right, Samora, if you're there, please pick up and casts guidance on Calder.
Okay. And Calder, what do your preparations look like as you begin to cast this 1 hour long ritual?
As he finishes the circle, bones are set into a particular pattern. That is like approximating the original anatomy what we can with an incomplete skeleton.
Yep.
Like, so it's all just, like, laid in place in the correct order to minimize the effort in putting it back together.
Oh, and Echo when he was washing them, he was also casting mending on them, so the bones are as whole as they can be.
As they can be, yeah.
also,
Mending doesn't replace that which is gone, but it can fix cracks and sort of things.
Get a set of, like, robes set aside for them.
Oh yeah, Echo's got, like, an extra tunic.
And he is otherwise, like, a lot of it is carving very, like, particular sigils and runes in Draconic primarily. Into Draconic with, like, a little bit of what looks like bad Dwarven script, because that is what the written language of Goblin looks like. As well as just, like, there's also scripts in Elvish as well, just, like, different patterns drawing from different like attunement energies. To those that are fluent in such languages, they are all, like, calling points that allude to the Shadowfell, like darkness, shadow, like a
angst,
gloom, dark, etc.
Emo.
As Calder is putting the final touches before starting the ritual, I think Echo kind of just, like, grabs Kretha's hand and holds on.
Mm-hmm.
Freely offers it, definitely.
And then, shall I describe the spellcasting?
Yes. I will be taking over the description at some point, but go ahead and get us started.
All right, I'll mark off the spell slot as spent.
It takes an hour?
It takes an hour, And you're channeling your magics through a diamond.
Yes. As he sits down before it, concentrating into it, just for the sake of it, I'm also casting Heightened.
Okay.
Just to make it basically to make it so that however it works, if there's any other person any other source of resistance, it is that much weaker for it. I fear in character he's probably thinking this is something I need to push.
Yeah.
Because
that makes sense to me.
And so he will, once that's done, he will sit down. It'll be this very sudden, he'll light all the candles, and as he sits and he reflects and closes his eyes, there's that beat of, is something happening? And then he opens his eyes, and like the raised dead before, but much stronger this time, light is pouring from his eyes and mouth. The flames of the candles all around the circle abruptly shift color into a bluish grayscale. And he is projecting his mind forth into the Shadowfell.
Now,
Echo will put a hand on his back just so he can keep re-upping guidance every minute.
As the last time a resurrection spell was cast by this party, it was, of course, cast by Echo through the staff of resurrection.
That's true.
Right?
That is true. That is true of resurrection.
Yeah, you did cast a raised dead at one point.
Couple.
But as Calder said to Echo, this is a very different experience, right? When Echo channeled through the staff, there was a light that was so blinding that it literally seared into his flesh, nearly blinded him, and just filled him with this light. And as the light is pouring out of Calder's eyes, and as the candles are roaring up into small bonfires, the diamond that you are channeling through, instead of emitting light, begins to absorb light. And the room begins to fill with shadows that seem like more than just an absence of light. Like these are shadows that are things, that are actual manifestations of the Shadowfell, as opposed to a simple, lack of torchlight. And you find yourself no longer in the room you were in. And this is directed to all four of you.
Oh
I was
my.
going to say, as the shadows poured out, I can imagine ghosts being like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey.
And you find yourself floating over a desolate vista. The Shadowfell is like the prime material plane, except with all joy and all hope and all color just sapped out of it. And you find yourself floating in this space. Calder, those carvings that you had, there is a very faint, path of light that is moving forward, and you find that you can move the group essentially at the speed of thought, past ruined castles, past forests that are just dead sticks, past a fog, past a creature. You see a 30-foot tall undead creature just walking in the distance. You see it silhouetted against
there's an entire species of giants here.
a pale sky. The word that comes to your head is Nightwalker.
One of those. Let's stay away from that.
Shadowfell is the land of the undead, but more than that, it is the land of memory. And what the Raven Queen is obsessed with is the remembrances of everything that has passed. And all of you begin to hear voices in the back of your head of someone from your past, something from your past. I will give you a chance at some point to describe some things if you want, but as you begin to pick up speed, you travel deeper and deeper until you come to a castle the size of a mountain. Very similar to the Stone Tooth in some ways, except instead of a mountain, it is a full-on castle. Bats fly around it. clouds swirl around the top of the spires, and a raven that's about 8 feet in wingspan flies from the castle and lands before you, and slowly transforms into basically a shadow version of Calder. Calder made completely out of shadow. No features, no eyes, no nose, no mouth. His silhouette with a pair of broken raven wings stands before you.
In this space, Calder does look different. A lot of his features are inverted. His skin tone remains the same, so he's not like a proper photo negative. But now it's his irises that are pitch black with white sclera. He wears like a mixture of golds and greens instead of the purples and darker tones he usually wears. His hair is stark white, and his horns look like spun gold.
Now,
oh shit! Is Durgan in here too?
Oh shit!
Because he's with me.
Durganin is currently silent.
But is he here?
There's no floating ghost.
You
Is
can't.
This like a ghost of a dwarf next to Kriva?
That's what I was wondering.
You cannot feel him in your mind.
Okay.
You cannot feel him in your mind at this
Gotta
time.
be creepy for Aretha.
Oh yeah, because he's tethered to the primaterial plane
Yeah.
as a ghost.
Wherever you are, this is not a physical place that you're in. You're all experiencing this place, but you have not. This is clearly not like a physical move, right? Durgadin is still back wherever it is that you left your bodies, essentially.
But our consciousnesses have been carried.
I feel like Echo looks slightly different. Like he's if you take an image and you move the opacity down to like 90% instead of 100, except for the markings around his eyes, which are kind of shimmering gold. Like they're not giving off light like when he activates them, but they're just shimmering gold, and he himself is a little bit transparent. Just that ghostly energy is coming out just a little bit more.
Speaking of...
Question.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of ghosts, but question. Would there be any after effects that you would see maybe of the ghost that had inhabited Kretha? So maybe you're not seeing Durgadin, but maybe like an after image, like when your eyes close after you've been staring at something bright kind of and just see a little bit of him.
We'll say that a
Arendelle,
very transparent sort of wispy outline around Kretha's form in the shape of a dwarven wizard. And he is, from what you can see, like recoiling.
Oh, poor baby.
For most of you, and I'm going to talk to Ghost in just a moment, but for most of you, this is a place of hopeless despair. You can feel it crushing down on you like a physical weight. This is not a happy place. This is a place where happiness goes to die. That said, Ghost, how you feeling right now?
I'm looking off into the distance. Ghost looks very much the same, except that his skin is more translucent. So at the joints, you can see the dark red of his bones.
Yes. Ooh.
And like at places where like the skin is thin, like his bones are a dark red, not like a white or a green or anything. They're very like contrasty to his normal white and black style. And there is, to an extent, he leaves like echo images as he moves. There's about 3 or 4 of them that follow just like a half second after, like the animator forgot to turn off the onion skin.
Yeah.
So this creature that looks vaguely like Calder, except with the broken raven wings, stands before you. What do you do?
Calder assesses everyone, looks about, tries to diagnose what this thing is first.
Give me an Arcana check.
I have guidance.
Can I? You do. Can I make a religion check?
I am okay with making a religion check as well. They will give you different bits of information. A 25.
29 total.
29 total, and an 11. I'll start with Echo. Not really anything. I'm in the wrong thing. I only see 3 of you. Doesn't matter. So you... this is the Shadowfell. Like, it could be one of any number of undead creatures. But Calder, and I'm going to really quick... That's the right one. There we go. Calder.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Raven Queen. She stands before you.
He will take position a respectful distance away and drop to a knee with his head bowed.
How do others react? Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, everybody.
You get a vague sense of curiosity from this creature, but it does not address you in words. It simply stands there for the moment, barring your way forward. Your line of light that takes you from you to the soul that you're looking for extends in both directions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back to your bodies and forward to wherever it is that the one you're resurrecting can be found. What do you do?
We seek entry to retrieve a soul.
If he's willing.
It regards Calder, and as far as the rest of you are concerned, you don't exist. Like, as far as it's concerned, the rest of you don't exist. It walks up to Calder until it is maybe a foot away and looks down at him, still kneeling. And you get a sense of satisfaction and a sense of overwhelming loneliness just rolling in waves off of this creature, to the point where Calder specifically, if, Jeff, you're up for it, I would like you to very quickly describe a small scene that pops up in the near distance of a moment when Calder was feeling at his lowest and loneliest.
There is a moment where it is a young Calder, younger than anyone here has ever seen him. Like probably around 15, 16-ish. He looks like he is dressed in like wizard robe trainee attire. Like he looks like that heavy robe, the academic. He is torn to shit. There's burns. He is just in racking sobs, holding what looks to be a bundle of somebody dead.
And we all see the scene?
Yes.
Pops into...
Yes, all of you are able to see this.
I think Echo's grip on Calder's back gets a little tighter.
Calder doesn't really flinch at it, surprisingly. Like, he glances at it, his gaze tightens, but he otherwise doesn't let it affect him too much. If anything, it's sheer experience. This is something that he has been. It's hard to be surprised at that kind of a scream because he hears it most nights anyway.
I'm already traumatized.
No. It's like, yep, that sucked. Moving on.
Oh, it doesn't let you move on for a little while yet.
Mm-hmm.
But at some
he
point,
watches it play out. He kind of expected something like this.
at some point, the Raven Queen turns, and the scene becomes something different. It becomes an image of Albrecht and Glaisa. Glaisa, the Devil Queen, and Albrecht, Calder's father, engaged in a very businesslike and not joyful at all act of procreation.
Oh boy. Glaisa is apparently is listed as canonically one of the hottest things in the multiverse.
And yet, there is no joy being found in this union. This is the culmination, consummation, if you will, of a business contract.
Yep.
I think Echo at that one, like, stands up from his bow and gets between Calder and the vision. Like, body blocks it.
And as a small point of light begins to sort of grow within Glaisa's abdomen, you see the Raven Queen reach out a hand that is Calder's hand but ending in talons, and a drift of shadow will extend from her hand, envelop the spark of life that is growing within Glaisa, and it will change color slightly and begin pulsing, and then the scene will fade out.
That's his eyebrow raises like just sharply, like what the fuck? At this point he will look up at her like directly.
And looking into the place where the eyes of the Raven Queen should be is looking into the infinite abyss. You actually find yourself, even though you're not physically here, you find yourself having to be steadied by Echo's hand on your back, lest you fall over. And
you did this to me deliberately, directly.
Again, the Raven Queen does not speak to you in words, but you get this overwhelming sense of assent. Yes.
I always assumed that my power was the goal of their union.
Something that would be amusement in another place, at another time, from another being, but here is just bitter.
This was spite.
Again, you get that sense of crushing loneliness, except this time it's not coming from you. It's coming from the Raven Queen. Now, there isn't much lore about the Raven Queen, or indeed the Shadowfell, on the Prime Material, or in the Dungeons & Dragons books, but
oh yeah,
you know that she has... What you know of the Raven Queen is that at one time she was likely a spellcaster. And that for eons she has been trapped in this place.
Like, if we're going, I'm not going to contradict you here, but like the trapped thing is debatable.
Debatable, yes. And there are one way or another, there are different interpretations. But again, you feel that sense of loneliness and that sense of wandering, that sense of being lost in the woods. And everything here obeys the whims of the Raven Queen. That Nightwalker you went past would do her bidding in a moment. The image that you saw of Glaisa and Albrecht has faded. But all around you, other scenes begin to manifest. Different people, different times, all with the Raven Queen's power enveloping the spark of life as it is being created. One of which has an oddly familiar energy, like a perhaps guy that drank too much wine and made a bad speech at Meepo's wedding. Sebastian Crow is a shadow sorcerer as well.
Yes, it's true.
I think Echo just flips off that image. Just gets that sense where he goes, fuck that guy.
The idea being this is a thing that she has done many times. And all of those images fade as well.
This is just where shadow sorcerers come from. Or at least a way.
And you get, finally, a sense of dark satisfaction. The first thing that you could even conceive of as a positive emotion coming off of this incredibly dour, ghoulish creature. The Raven Queen vanishes, and her form becomes a mist that rapidly begins to depart down the light beam behind you.
Like back the way
like
we
back
came.
the way you came.
What is she doing?
I think she's getting out of our way, but I think but I also think she's going to take advantage of an opportunity.
And the path ahead is clear.
I think she's going to be doing something, but that is she's not barring our path anymore, so this is permission to proceed.
As much as it could be.
I was going to ask, was that like a typical interaction with her?
No.
When she leaves, Ghost seems to come out of a straight up stupor, like he was AFK'd.
Oh
no. He will look at the group, and from what I've read and preparing for this, no. She's usually much more grandiose when she deigns to appear. That was unsettlingly specific.
I mean, not to step on your toes, Ghost, but all of the, like, having hands in, like, conception and stuff, I think you might also be some sort of offspring to her, Calder.
Just sort of blinks a couple times. That's, spiritually speaking, likely.
Like, I know there's a lot of different religions where, like, Paler's like, we are all children of the sun kind of a thing. But this seems a little more literal.
It looks like she grafted a piece of magical essence at my very creation. So, yeah, that sounds right.
Ooh. That actually sounds a bit like some fairy tales about granting gifts to babies, sharing your power with them.
You're not wrong. I don't know what to think, and all of that makes sense, and it terrifies me. The implications are interesting.
As you begin to decide to move ahead,
like as he's saying, his thought process is proceed. So they are proceeding.
You get the uneasy sense that unintentionally, possibly through the Raven Queen's interaction with you at your conception, you have provided some sort of path. Mm-hmm. But to you, the path forward is clear. Mm-hmm. And before too long, you are out of the Shadowfell. I don't know what Tamora's realm looks like.
It is supposed to be like rolling hills and
Hobbiton.
Like Hobbiton,
even better.
The continent of Hobbiton.
Yeah.
Yes. A little bit more gold. She loves clovers. Clovers are everywhere. Shamrocks,
very Fiddler's Green. It is very Fiddler's Green.
Yeah, very much.
Green. It's golden.
The water is almost glowing a Stygian blue. Everything smells fresh and happy. There are no allergens here. Everyone can actually breathe.
There's a literal babbling brook that you cross over.
Yeah, it's literally it's literally talking and has opinions and stuff.
So you come from this place of darkness and gray and despair, suddenly into this meadow that is at first blindingly bright. The sunlight is honey-colored on your skin. The sky is the most blue crystalline thing you've ever seen. The rolling hills of clover look just... You can almost not resist the temptation to just roll down one of them.
I think
in this lighting, Calder's appearance looks the most human he has ever looked.
I was gonna say, Echo's almost like a shining green. Like he matches the shamrocks. Like
Your mark is probably on.
How's Kreetha doing?
Kreetha is, well, she's still trying to get over all of the stuff that was happening. She knows the least about what is happening here. Out of everybody, she is just, it's like being back at the beginning. Like, she does not know the fuck that's going. And she figured she wouldn't understand anything that was really going to happen. She's here for moral support for Echo and stuff, and to do as best she can. But she's a little creeped. Like she's a lot creeped out. But I guess here in Fiddler's Green, she would. I mean, like Tamora's Realm, but in my head, it's definitely Fiddler's Green. You know, she is also like just shining almost, and like because she has become mistress of the forge, and that's kind of become like a big old thing. Like the dwarven aspects have kind of come out even more.
The return of Beard.
If it no,
But
no return of Beard, but
Roll with it.
yeah,
she's also a goddess of just all adventurers. So like
yeah, all adventurers. But like it brings forward just a lot of just her.
I'm thinking it's a literal false
more
beard.
heroic and like more
Yeah.
like a little older, but like also just like very much shiny, you know, and like
she wandered off the cover of a book of an adventure novel.
yeah. And she's kind of shifting a little bit between mainly being a goblin and sometimes looking like a dwarf. It's a weird thing that like she doesn't realize is happening.
And Ghost, technically that last place was your home turf, but how are you feeling now that you're in this place of golden light and like
overwhelming positive energy,
wafting scents of like mint and leaves on the wind?
He has an allergic reaction.
I could see that, yeah.
Somehow gets a sunburn.
Somehow he is allergic to a place that has no allergens.
Violently, he has been sneezing since we stepped in here. It's like he like manages to get a breath and then it's gone again. Like he's just like, it's fine. He's dying.
Kreetha offers him a shiny, beautiful handkerchief.
He doesn't. Like, his eyes are like a darker gray.
They're swollen shut.
He doesn't have any other color in him. And he's just, like, squinting. Like, he can't really see that well. And just, like, all of the wet bits of a body on the face are now, like, dripping.
So, I don't know how this would actually work. But Echo would like to cast a spell on Ghost to hopefully help him adjust a little bit.
Okay.
Lesser restoration from the beads that he has, which are from a different sun god, Pelor.
I'm going to make something up. Give me just a moment.
It does say that you touch a creature and either end one disease or condition afflicting it. The condition be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. So if he's being literally poisoned by this area, maybe for just a little bit, it'll like act as a buffer, maybe.
It's magical citrusine.
Okay. What I need,
Tech, dude.
what I need from you,
From me?
no, what I need from Gale is a D100. We're gonna roll a wild magic surge.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. This is only going to get better.
17.
17.
17.
So it works, but both Ghost and Echo, for the next 10 minutes, after you, and this is 10 minutes after you wake up. This is going to persist while you're here, but for 10 minutes, both of you have dramatically different, disruptively different voices. I will let you choose what that means, but your voices, maybe they Freaky Friday switch, or maybe something else. But both of you have dramatically, distractingly different voices from your normal for 10 minutes.
After we wake up, so
starting at the end of this scene. Right now, no, your voice, you don't really have a voice in this place, right? When Calder was speaking, he wasn't speaking with vibrations in the air. He was speaking from his mind directly, yes? But when you wake up, that's what's going to happen. Gotta love Wild Magic Surge tables. The pathway is much more solid and much brighter. You know that you are on the right track and nearly there.
I think, like, a laugh just bubbles up in Echo in this place, and he points at a random hill, and he's like, I think I had a dream right on that hill before where I talked to her. This is wonderful.
As you point to the hill, the light path leads you in that direction. And at the top of the hill is a single, just absolutely beautiful platonic ideal of an oak tree. And beneath the oak tree, with a wide-brimmed hat down around his eyes, with a long-stemmed pipe and rings of smoke coming up from his head, is a goblin who looks to be about the same age as Echo.
Afternoon. Or morning, whatever it is.
So he lifts up the hat. Is it very clearly him?
Oh, yes. As he lifts it up. Go ahead.
If he can move in this space without Calder directing them, Echo is just going to run forward and hug his dad.
He chokes on the smoke that he was about to exhale.
Oh. Sorry.
What? Hello, travelers. What? Who? Why? He looks groggy, like he just woke up from a really nice nap.
Sorry for the disruption of your nap, but we need to speak.
All right. What you need?
My name is Calder Creed, and he'll go around and it's like, these are my companions.
Are you dead?
He just continues. This is my companion Kretha, Ghost, and this
that one's
is
definitely dead.
No, this one is Echo.
He kind of shakes his head and shrugs.
Can I do an insight?
Yeah. Tell me what the result is, because we're not on the table right now.
Yep. Oh, that's a 24.
24. Are you looking for anything in particular?
He's looking for one recognition and is realizing that recognition is not there, even when he backs up and looks face to face to him. And I think mostly what he's looking for here is, because Calder talked about it before with the fugue realm and your memories fading, does Cynric seem happy? I know he just got choked on smoke, but just taking in his general demeanor, his clothing, the whether or not his cheeks are sunken like they were always in life, does he seem happy?
I will give you, with a 24, I will say that first off, no, there is no glimmer of recognition in his eyes, but on the other hand, it's been a while. You're very different. And looking around this place and looking at the state he was in when you came up to him, he looks extremely at peace. Happiness is a relative concept, but as a goblin yourself who is constantly surrounded by violence, this is a man who is peacefully resting under the shade of an oak tree on a perfect day in a perfect meadow, smoking what smells like some really, really nice pipe weed, you would say this is a man who is content and at peace at the moment. Maybe at the moment before he choked on his smoke.
God, yes. I think like Echo's eyes have been teary since we first spotted him. I think he's just like tears are just rolling down his face, but he's got a very big smile on.
He pulls out a pouch. He begins to pack the pipe again.
Calder will put a reassuring hand on Echo's shoulder, and he will take a pose that he has like taught himself to in order to address the much shorter goblins in his life. I don't mean to interrupt your clearly peaceful rest, but I had a very important question to ask you.
Ask away. It's been a while since I've had visitors. I keep changing his voice.
Echo puts up a hand to caution Calder to just hold on.
My first question then would be, do you remember your last visitor?
Some sort of big lizard. Cute though. There was this halfling at one point, and we chatted for a bit. I don't remember much about what, but she seemed pretty cool.
That would likely be tomorrow.
I am being extremely rude. I'm sorry. He'll pat himself for a second. He'll pull out like a loaf of bread from his pack that is just perfectly fresh, and the moment he pulls it out, it's the scent of it wafts as though it just came out of the oven. And he'll break it, and he'll offer half of it to the party, more than half of it to the party, since there's 4 of you and 1 of him. And I think I've got a wedge of. And he'll go dig deeper into the pouch, which is clearly bag of holding style deeper than it should be. Mm-hmm. And he pulls out this wedge of white cheese with a almost artistically looking like vein of blue through it.
Nice.
And he'll proffer it.
Yeah. Accept bits and takes a bite, and it's got to be the best bread and cheese he's ever had.
Oh, it's
right?
amazing.
Do you recall your name? Do you recall your name?
What's in a name? That which I knew this one.
That which we call a rose by any other name that smells sweet.
I was thinking something more to do with cheese, but maybe yours is better.
It is a human problem.
We don't have much call for names in these parts.
No, I imagine not.
But poetry and prose?
Probably
what you were trying to quote? Is there a theater here?
Probably many.
Performances? Just bards around the tables?
He'll wave vaguely in some direction. I'll be somewhere over there, I think.
I think Echo gestures Creetha to come closer and sit next to him on the ground and say, before we get further into other things, I want to introduce you. This is Creetha. She's my sister, and she's an adventurer and a wonderful person, and I really wanted her to be able to meet you.
Meet me? Really? Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you, Creetha. And you said you were, Echo.
That's one of the names I have, yeah.
He'll cock his head for a moment and kind of shake himself out of it.
And he introduced himself to you, but this is Calder, my very good friends. I love him dearly, and he is so selfless.
I am
so
a friend.
often.
I have been a friend to many goblins.
He lights the pipe up and takes a drag off of it, and he gestures at you with the stem of the pipe, and he says, "You are terrifying." Anyone ever tell you that? Absolutely terrifying.
He just seems to accept it.
And the one you thought was dead, this is Ghost.
Also terrifying.
Sorry.
They are one of the most entertaining performers you will ever know.
But anyone who ends up here can't be all bad, so nice to make all of your acquaintances. Would you care to share a story, perhaps?
Yes, I think so. One that you might like.
He'll shift and prop himself back on the tree and kind of put one hand behind his head while he holds his pipe in his other hand. And again, just an aura of just like satisfied contentment as he sort of nestles in against this tree that seems to be just perfectly molded for leaning against and taking naps in the sun. Or in the shade, I should say.
Calder will launch into a once upon a time type telling of D&D style adventures. It'll describe the events of the Sunless Citadel portion of the campaign.
Ooh, okay, I'm loving this.
Like putting special highlight of, and then a goblin showed up. And like the events of meeting Echo, going talking to kobolds, dropping kobold names to see if there anything flickers. Moving on to the goblins, dropping the goblin and specifically the bugbear's name. And their horrible demise.
He'll, as you mentioned the more violent parts of it, like a shadow sort of passes over his face and he nods. And as you mention the bugbear and Belak, and as you
when he gets to that, like he'll decide we found unwholesome experiments and will not linger on them.
Go ahead and make a performance check. I know it's not something you're trained in, but you do have that high charisma. Let me know what you get.
I'm gonna use a thing to reroll that.
Okay. You do have, I believe, an inspiration.
I do have an inspiration, but I'm using the sorcerer thing.
The sorcerer thing. Okay.
And one more because I have that inspiration. I want to do well.
So for the folks watching, that was a 13 and a 15, and that was
I'm going to go with the 15.
Yeah, so we'll go with the 15.
Well, and, if you'll allow it, like, Echo would have been recasting the...
Oh, yeah, so roll the d4 on that.
Guidance.
Now, Echo...
so 18 and 18
it lasts for a minute.
Echo is casting the guidance. Is Echo participating in the story, or is he just watching?
I think Echo is participating in the story. He's, when he's describing things, Echo will, do, some of the motions of the action.
I'm going to give you a performance as well, and you can take advantage on this, please. We got an 18 already. And that looks like a 21 to me.
21, yep.
And you find his gaze lingering on Echo more and more as the tale continues. And you finish up, and he says, well, hardly a rollicking tale, a lot of darkness to it, but something about it.
You have to admit, the deaths of the villains of the story probably were very satisfying.
Something about it. He looks
almost
troubled for a moment.
Have you ever been to the Sunless Citadel?
Calder.
Perhaps in a dream?
He looks over at Echo.
Long ago? Hell of a story, though. I'm definitely going to be sharing that one around the fire.
I'm very happy to hear it.
I think Echo walks back over near him and kneels on the ground in front of him and just looks up at him and takes in the happy, the he still has the like stress lines and worry lines that he perpetually had in life, but he doesn't look half starved. He doesn't look like he hasn't slept properly in a month. Like, this is the happiest and healthiest, in death that Echo has ever seen him. And I think Echo just takes a deep breath and says, I miss you, Dad. But I can see that you're very happy here.
This does bring me to my question. And it's a question you should feel free to refuse.
I don't want to take away a choice from you. I want you to make this choice. You didn't get to make a lot of choices before. Not real ones. Cynric. I'm Eckhart.
He moves forward and he squints and he gets like up close and looks like deep into your eyes. And that flicker of recognition you've been looking for blazes into a bonfire. And he looks at you, and he looks at your companions, and he looks at Kretha, and he says, "You're so big. What happened? How long have I been here?"
I think Echo just hugs him.
Well, how did you come to be here? Are you?
I'm not dead. I'm not dead, Dad.
Like, I have grown a great deal in power since I first went to the Citadel, and this was a opportunity that was afforded us now because of that power. We are here by way of a spell, not death, nothing. The only unpleasantness in our being here is literally you.
How did I not see? How did I not recognize you?
It's the nature of this place. It is the nature of the afterlife. You should not hold guilt to it.
Complacency, maybe.
No.
It's more. There's an entire process you go through, and you are on the other side of it.
Your words are kind, but a goblin not recognizing his own blood is... Kretha, are you... Did I...
No.
I never even was at the Citadel when this was happening. I met Echo later, but I am very happy to have been able to come and meet you now.
Family is family by blood or by circumstance.
Yes.
And he'll give Kretha a hug as well.
She's crying just like me. My face is super wet right now, just so you know. Like it's.
Well, this is marvelous.
And
you can't possibly stay here long, though.
No, very long. We are here for long enough for a conversation, long enough to ask you a question. And that question is, would you like to return to life?
It's been 11 years. The goblins aren't at the Citadel anymore.
They are happy. They are happy. They are happy. They are well cared. They're in active cooperation with the nearest human community, whom I hold direct relation.
I'm not asking you to come back to the life that you left. Everything is so different now. I didn't know where you would be on this side of things, and seeing you happy like this, it's really good. You look better than you ever did alive.
It was. I remember now. It was payment. This is my reward for a favor I did for that halfling.
What do you remember what the favor was?
It's still fuzzy.
Don't worry about it.
You introduced us.
When we return, if you decided to return, you would remember the entirety of your old life, and these memories here and what came after will feel as a dream. Very distant, and you'll be very confused, and we'll probably have to have another conversation. But
You don't have to come back.
you don't have to if you do not wish it. If you are at peace here, then by all means, enjoy your peace.
He's standing at this point, right, as he moved forward to hug the two of you, and he looks back at the space on the ground where he was resting, where the grass is still bent where he was laying. And he looks back, and when he turns back around, now tears are rolling down his face. And he says, "My son, why would you want me back? I let that monster do whatever he wanted to us."
You didn't. You stood up to him. You were trying to keep us safe.
But I failed.
And
No,
you didn't fail me.
you did not
You
fail.
told-
You
You
died.
told me to
It was
run,
a
and I
choice.
ran. I got out.
And it was that act that eventually led to the bugbear's death and Belak's fall. Well, first fall, but that's another conversation.
I have so much family I want to introduce you to. I have aunts and uncles. I've got cousins. So many people. Yes.
You would return to the world as essentially as you are. You would be healthy, free of all ailments, and return to the age you were when you fell.
It's not perfect, though. I
And
don't
you're-
want you to get the idea that you'd be returning to heaven from heaven, but
And there would be no guarantee that you would be able to return here. But if you live by a certain creed, chances are good.
That was the next question, is what happens next.
Well,
You said
It was
11
happening.
years.
11 years.
11 years. I'm older than you now.
You were... Magic's so weird.
I
Oh.
agree. I agree.
Oh, that is such a understatement.
But you don't know if I will be able to return to this place when my time is up.
There's no guarantee of it. You are clearly capable of getting here once, even if it was with Tamara's help. She only would permit people to come here if they were otherwise compatible. If you live by Tamara's creed and if you offer her proper homage in the way she would define it, this is your reward.
Also, I kind of have an in with her.
Yes. Is something of an ordained is something of a semi-ordained cleric.
Echo has been
And
very.
How did
Fred,
you-
I'm sorry.
How did you be...
You
We
introduced
never had
us.
much truck with gods.
No, that was the favor. You introduced me to her.
Oh.
And I have to say, while Echo does not have much truck with gods, the gods like to have truck with Echo.
This
Actually,
is...
I also met like a dwarven god at some point. Don't worry about it.
Yes,
Um,
been a thing.
This is a lot.
Yes, it is. But unfortunately, we do not have a lot of time.
I suppose not.
just getting to see you again now was worth
That is
it.
all. That is all that we need.
Oh,
Now a question of what
this
you want.
this place is incredible. It is a wonderful place to forget the worries and woes of the last life. And I remember now, I spent a great deal of time wondering. And wondering how many of those I left behind hate me. And it is...
And we can speak with some authority in the matter to say none.
And wondering if you had survived. And look at you. Look at you.
I have We have seen Echo do fantastic things. I would not be alive without Echo's help.
What happened to your
Nor would I.
face?
It's more weird magic stuff. It's, I kind of always had been thinking about a tattoo, and, I think they work well with my complexion.
We brought back a friend from the dead.
Yeah, kind of what we're doing here.
So this is a habit for you people? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know if two is a habit.
This is just a normal thing for you?
People.
Calder will laugh at that. And we'll take the opportunity to stand and stretch.
And I'm coming back, and the war is over, you said?
That one was. We are kind of in the middle of another one.
Yeah.
But the war with the kobolds is over. Like, that's
Way
settled.
Oh, yeah,
Peace. We have peace.
To the absurd point where we were literally invited to the Queen's wedding.
Eckhart, you have not been able to keep things from me very well. You would better tell me the whole story before I make up my mind.
Well,
what is happening out there?
If you do come back in like 2 weeks' time, there might be a battle between forces of fey magic and undead plants and roach that are trying to end the world in 3 different ways.
We can't really go. We do not have the time to go into the details, but the summary would involve Belak again.
Yeah, no, we killed him, and then it didn't stick. But it's not just us. We have friends, we have allies, we have an entire dwarven citadel behind us, and multiple dragons, and...
He turns to Calder. In your story, Belak the Outcast was defeated. He yet lives.
Yes.
Both are true.
Well, it's true. They happen not in the opposite order. He is still a problem. We killed him once. We're going to see if we can make the second time stick.
A full body shudder goes through him, like a convulsive shudder. And he says, I'll return with you.
I figured you might want to take a shot at him if you get the chance. Maybe.
At the very least, you can offer our tacticians insights into his initial state, into what he was when he first appeared. These are corners of his history we still don't know.
I will save you. I will spare you the descriptions of the things that he made me watch him do.
Oh, don't worry. We already have someone who's gone through the same process.
No, that was before he had everything set up.
He was not
content.
He was not content to simply do what he would with my people. He wanted me to know.
Calder will grab him by the face. Just do not dwell on that pain here.
Yeah, as he's saying this, by the way, as his face is darkening, and as the anger and the fear and the naked hatred begins to sort of take over his face, the wind begins to pick up, and like the perfectly blue cloudless sky begins to fade a little bit, and like the beautiful green of the clover begins to brown ever so slightly, at least in the immediate vicinity.
What you need to focus on is that your people are alive and safe. Your son is alive and safe. You are being given one of the rarest opportunities in the world, in all of the realms, to come back and to have a second chance. No price. I will demand no payment and expect no reward.
How selfish would I have to be to stay in this place of just excellent pipeweed and stories by the fire and perfect weather, while my boy is out there fighting a war for all of the material plane? No, I will return with you.
I mean, technically you are dead, and you are allowed to stay dead if you want to.
You've gone through the process once. That is the price of entry.
I would be honored to fight by your side, War Chief.
He touches the spot on his chest where he was run through. Okay, what happens next?
Take my hand.
He will.
How are you with moving very, very fast?
By the time you finish your
by the-
sentence...
Exactly.
Yeah, by the time you finish your sentence, the trip back is seconds. The trip back is a very bright and then very dark and then very bright again blur.
And when there's just a shuddering moment where once we are in that final approach, we probably would see the Raven Queen one more time.
I'm sorry, say that again?
We would probably see the Raven Queen on the way out.
You don't.
But we would probably would, and then we don't. Oh, that's,
no,
that's
you
worse.
do not. You do not. There is no trace of the Raven Queen as you exit.
Cool. That's worse. And so we will.
I'm sure the smell of dead bird is going to complement the wet dog very well.
So once we would shudder back into our place, we would get a very visceral, very detailed re-knitting of a goblin's body over their bones.
It's regrowing all the bones and the muscle. And
bones
the
first.
and the organs.
Bones first, then tendons, then sinew into muscle, and finally, eventually, skin over top.
Mm-hmm. And then there's sort of a blossom of his hair that he had when alive.
And his eyes open very, very slowly. And in the again dim candlelight of the room, he squints as though he's staring into the sun. And he looks up and he goes,
at his side.
I always wanted to look at the world with new eyes.
Calder nods and then summarily passes out.
Oh no.
This resurrection. You touch a dead creature that has been dead for no more than a century, that did not die of old age and that is not undead. If its soul is free and willing, the target returns to life with all its hit points. The spell neutralizes any diseases and cures normal diseases afflicting the creature when it died. It doesn't remove magical diseases, curses, and the like. If such effects aren't removed prior to the casting of the spell, they afflict the target on its return to life. This spell closes all mortal wounds and restores any missing body parts. Coming back from the dead is an ordeal. The target takes a -4 penalty to all attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. Every time the target finishes a long rest, the penalty is reduced by 1 until it disappears. Casting the spell to restore life on a creature that has been dead for 1 year or longer taxes you greatly. Until you finish a long rest, you cannot cast spells again, and have disadvantage on all attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws.
So both he and you just out. He says the thing about seeing the world with new eyes, which is a line that I had been preparing for quite some time for this moment. And the two of you pass out. And that's where we're gonna pick up in the next one.
Well, I mean, so we're back in our bodies. So I think as they pass out, Echo looks around and says,
I did not catch that at all.
Yeah, the perfect time for the audio to cut. Oh, we still can't hear anything.
I'm trying to do a really high-pitched voice because we're supposed to do this.
Oh, right. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. So as you try to say things, your voice is high and screechy and cannot be understood by anybody. No, that's perfect.
Great. I love this. Well, Kretha
I want to know what Ghost is.
starts going around to try and take care of people as best she can.
Just
You
this
know.
deep baritone. This horrible.
Is there something I can do for you?
Sounds like Darth Vader or voiced by James Earl Jones.
Is there anything I can do for you?
This is perfect.
I hand you like some tea.
We'll just ask Calder. Shit.
And I start trying to take care of people as best I can. So
I think we could fade out on that.
yeah.
Intense, very funny,
Yeah, lots
very
of trials.
touching. Wow. Like, I mentioned before the stream started, before we started recording, I mentioned that I have been feeling a lot of pressure. I have been feeling a lot of anxiety about bringing this very long and very involved campaign to a close. There's going to be loopholes, like, for example, you're not going to get to find out what just happened with the Raven Queen. That's just going to be a loophole. That's just a plot hole. That's just not happening.
That is a deliberately left dangling thread.
Yeah, the basic idea being you're meant to infer that the reason why the Raven Queen has been making all these shadow sorcerers is to eventually use one of them to find a path out of the Shadowfell.
Yeah, that came across pretty clear.
So that's the basic idea.
Yeah, the inference I got immediately was I made all these gateways and I'm gonna let you do what you want, but I'm gonna go.
like shadow sorcerers are rare, yeah, and high level shadow sorcerers rarer still. And not every time a high level shadow sorcerer casts resurrection would this happen. It is a confluence of events that eventually, hopefully for her, the door would be open, the path would be clear. Even I don't know if she escaped there or not. It may or may not come up in a future campaign, but I'm not even thinking about future campaigns at this time. I'm just wanted to throw that out there into the ether.
If I ever run a game in Faerun, I will probably make allusions to this.
The pure irony of Baba Yaga sitting somewhere and being like, yes, I'm only 2 weeks away from conquering death itself. What do you mean the Raven Queen got out and she's on the same plane I am? What the fuck do you mean? Like 2 weeks.
Somebody put that bitch back.
What do you mean?
Yeah, the Raven Queen is the one who beat Vecna at being god of death, so...
And has access to all of his memories.
Yep.
Among many, many others. Again,
Yeah.
every creature that has ever been undead, the Raven Queen has access to their knowledge and their memories. Like, it's...
Like Belak.
Yes, like Belak. Her castle is a literal mind palace, right? And it's the largest one in the multiverse as far as we know. Yeah.
You can't really measure the size of places in Pandemonium. It doesn't really
And
work,
like,
but yeah.
on the one hand, there's frustratingly little about the Shadowfell and the Raven Queen. There's like 3 lines.
All of the lore around Shadowfell is found in the descriptions of the creatures that come there.
Yeah.
That come from there. That's all you get, and it's like, and then there are these terrible things that live here. They're extremely hostile to anything that has that makes radiant energy. They suck and they're terrifying.
But on the other hand,
why do they have Shadowfell house those? I don't know.
The lack of canonical lore means that I can make up whatever I want and no one can tell me I'm wrong.
I was gonna ask, M.
I'm in. Hi.
I'm curious about when the Raven Queen was there, Ghost was checked the fuck out. Was that because Ghost chose to check the fuck out, or is there an aura around her that just makes everybody, all of her children, go until
So
she's
there's
gone?
a specific lore that I like for Shadow Kai, which is that they are, every single one of them is to an extent actually an agent for the Raven Queen.
Mm-hmm.
In so much as she can inhabit them like they are puppets.
Just a bonus extra body she can sometimes slip into.
And
Yeah.
the Raven Queen is not an evil thing, but not a good thing either.
So because of that, it's one of those if you look at it from the fact that while Ghost has his own shit going on, the being in the presence of your, like, the person holding your strings does tend to put you in a, like, oh, they're doing something right now, and
I'm going
I
on
don't need
standby. Yeah.
I'm not really here.
Ghost has left
as
the
a
building.
person.
I am going to say, by the way, and I'll try to remember to say this like in game on the way back. Jen, I've meant to say this.
Yeah.
As you wake up, you find that the spirit, the ghost of that dwarven wizard whose name escapes me, that
Arundel.
that you have been holding on to, that weight has been lifted from your shoulders. As
did
though
he finally get to move on?
as though that spirit remained behind in Tamora's realm. I'll try to remember.
Neat.
I'll try to remember that. It's because you brought it up. That was not part of the plan, but I'll try to remember to say that at the beginning.
I love the idea that Tamara just goes, and I'm just gonna take this.
You've suffered enough, yeah. Like Tamora is shading more towards good than evil, but really she's kind of just
She's objectively
compulsive.
a good god.
She's compulsive, right? She
She's a
does
trickster.
she does what she wants when she wants for her own reasons. They're usually good, but like I see on the good evil law chaos, axis, I see her further along the chaos axis than the good axis. Like she's the trickster, right? Most of her pranks are good-natured. I did strongly consider for a little while the idea that the father that she sent to you wasn't actually the father, that it was just a prank she was pulling to try to get you on her side. But I also know that would have led to possibly a break and possibly a class change and possibly some oath changes, and that could have been cool. But that's the other thing, is I did not have an ending in mind for this scene. I thought there was a very real chance that Echo, especially when you asked, like, does he seem happy? I almost expected Echo to look at him and go, you know what, I'm not going to bother him. And then all of you just kind of, it was very nice to meet you. Thank you for sharing bread with us. Have a wonderful existence, and then taking off.
Yep.
I did consider it.
Yeah, I was prepared for that eventuality as well, but Culper would not have left without at least a conversation.
Yeah. No, that was really good.
Well, as his thesis is that resurrection is inherently selfish magic.
Yeah. When we had answered the question, where is he and is it a good place, Echo was then weighing it in his mind. Would this be taking away peace from him? But I think where he landed was, no, I'm not taking anything away from him. I am giving him a choice.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Like you kind of took the only thing you really took away was his ignorance, right? Yeah. And it wasn't even ignorance. It's just like Jeff has said in the past, and like you said in the past, like the longer a spirit stays away from the prime material, the less it connects to the memories of that time and that place, and the more it becomes part of the realm that it exists in, right? It wouldn't.
It's kind of the opposite of a ghost, which stays and fixates until they are only the thing they fixate on.
It wouldn't surprise me if eventually his features eventually became more halfling-like, and he just becomes another hobbit in the Shire.
I'm gonna say, there's no pipeweed down in the Sunless Citadel. He never smoked a day in his life. That is just the afterlife thing.
Like, I imagine, like, it's like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
Oh man.
So that'll be fun.
And then the I know that Jeff, you wanted a little bit of, because I know that like, why does the Raven Queen do what she does was a question that you had. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately that's a question that just doesn't have an answer. Right? Yeah, the Raven Queen is not like Glaisa, who has like specific motivations. For her, it was just like, I'm stuck and I'd like to get out, and I will make it everybody's problem.
Yep. And lo, it happened. It's okay. I am not going to worry too much about it, because if it wasn't me, it would have been someone else.
And I like the idea because Calder has spent his entire life wondering why, right? Wondering why he is what was the purpose of his creation. And I like the idea that for both Glaisa and the Raven Queen, it was just convenience.
Convenience, a little bit of like spite was in there.
And a little bit of spite.
I'm curious to the source of the spite.
You're special by the circumstance of your birth, but you're not one of those like chosen one archetypes, as Calder probably grew up imagining himself to be.
Yeah, which fits into his themes quite nicely.
Yeah.
I would also love if this is the breaking point. If this, very mysterious circumstances woven into each other thing is what breaks Calder finally free from the, you know what? I'm not responsible for what my parents do. I'm not.
No,
it's them, not me.
No, like once he wakes up, like a lot of shit's gonna like reorient in his brain case, because that's probably what he's dreaming about right now. Is
in the
going
span
to
of
be
an hour, you learned you had a third parent, and also they were using you for something.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, cool. Literally none of my parents gave any shit about me. I was just a tool of convenience. Cool. I am now secure in this knowledge.
I'm free.
Fuck them all.
Yeah. Another possibility that entered my mind that would have been really good, and I would have not hesitated at all to pull it on you, and during the scene I was still deciding, was instead of having her just vanish, there was going to be a choice of, yeah, she's going to follow your path back to the world unless you give up your power.
If made to make that choice, he would have handed over the staff in trade.
And that would have been, if this had been earlier in the campaign, maybe I would have done something like that. But since we only have like 2 sessions left, maybe 3, I did not want to have you have to totally restat your character from the ground up, or risk letting the Raven Queen out in the prime material, because I know you would make the right choice, but it would be a very inconvenient choice for the campaign.
Let her out.
Getting to keep the staff gives me a very interesting tactical option.
Oh no, when I say give up your power, I mean the entire Shadowfell power. You would have lost your sorcerer levels.
I would have lost my sorcerer levels, but I still have all of the magical potential. My spirit is still flexed of that of a level 13.
It would have been weird.
You just gotta go and get Vic to bite you. And then you can go, you can be level whatever the fuck we are, Blood Hunter.
Hard convert.
Okay, hear me out. That would be so rad, though.
Or like, let's make a deal with. I'm gonna go make a deal with another eldritch entity and come out of Warlock. It'll be great. Because my stat block pretty good for a Warlock too.
Right?
Okay, if you would do that, you should make a deal with the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
In that same sense.
Like, okay, now make me an offer.
And I said, wait, I want to make a deal.
I'd like to make a deal.
Hold on, before you go.
Alternate universes.
Well, I got you here.
Since we're already talking and I don't have to go find you later.
Also,
your mom's kind of weird.
I loved Kretha getting to support Echo and be really weirded out by the afterlives.
And get to experience this weird thing called paternal affection.
Weird.
Magic is weird. I know, right? That's what I've been saying.
Oh, you don't even know.
Ever since I saw Calder cast that acid ball, I was like, what the fuck is magic even?
I mean, that whole beginning was just one just mind fuck after another.
Oh,
Like,
man.
Acid ball. We had, the magic furniture, the freaking rug.
Possessed by a ghost.
Possessed by a ghost. Like,
We have done so... Ooh, love it.
Oh, that's great.
We have done so much with these characters, and we've been doing this for so long that, like... I'm feeling like after we finish this campaign, it's not going to be too long before I'm going to be pitching a rewatch, because like we can go ahead and go back and cringe at how bad I was at this back in the Sunless Citadel days.
Y'all remember when I gave Echo a like southern accent for 2 sentences?
I have not let you live that down.
Absolutely not.
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds like a stupid decision made by a less experienced player.
And this is coming from a guy that to this day like changes voices in the middle of a sentence sometimes. So like,
I'm gonna headcanon that is a local accent to the area, like of Oakhurst, and he was trying to like appear like, "Hey, I'm friendly, don't kill me." Oh, okay, you guys aren't from around here. It's my headcanon now.
Like, it's just what the yokels of Oakhurst talk like.
But also, like, Hyacinth's at the mountain. What's he doing here? Just making it rain.
Apparently, that's the only thing we know yet so far.
Look at him. Look at Hyacinth. I am drawing Hyacinth.
I know. That's what
He
reminded
is-
me. It's like, oh right, Hyacinth's here.
so it takes money to make money, right? And
Spend money to make
the forge doesn't run without materials, without couriers to run items, without, you know, some way to pay the people who are doing the labor. So like, we already know Jarlaxle is fronting a fairly serious amount of money for this. We know that King Barnabas is using his resources, which are not super big at this time, to get the ball rolling. And then Hyacinth, your ridiculously wealthy friend, is also sort of funding this new startup, this disruptive new startup that's going to move fast and break things. And I do want to say, like, Belak's rantings and ravings about bringing this much magic into the world and it being dangerous aren't necessarily wrong.
Something Karsus's folly, we know.
Yeah, it's like
No. Belak is wrong. He understands one part of an ecosystem and has blown it out of proportion. Just because that one part of the ecosystem had some truth to it does not mean that Belak is not wrong.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. He's got the Thanos thing of like, I'm just going to destroy everything to try to fix it, and won't necessarily fix it.
Use the same magic you're growing to make the world better at absorbing magic, you idiot.
Hold the fuck up. You can't do that. That would be simple and easy.
Sometimes
fallacy, he is all in on necrotic plants.
Sometimes you gotta have villains that have very complicated like motivations that you can relate to, and you can say, there but for the grace of God go I. But sometimes you just want a guy who's wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, and I said at the very beginning, almost 3.5 years ago or however long it was, I said at the very beginning that in this campaign we lean into tropes. And my God, have we been leaning into tropes. If he had a mustache, he'd be twirling it.
It certainly didn't help when he came back as an undead plant thing and was essentially sampling his own wares at that point. Like, he's so far gone down that road.
Yeah.
Like,
he's all in.
When you're in supervillainy, once you find your shtick, it's really hard to break out of it.
Well, and
rebranding is a whole thing.
Underneath almost every lich is a caster who foresaw some big event and thought that they were the only one who would be able to stop it, and thus needed to make themselves immortal by doing heinously evil things. But some liches just want to be liches.
Yep.
Yeah, but some liches just thought, like, oh, right, this death thing.
Kind of sucks.
I'm technically mortal right now, so I should probably get on top of that.
I think at this time we're going to go ahead and go around and do our. This was only a couple of scenes, but I would still like to know if there was a particular bit that jumped out at you. Currently, Ghost has inspiration already.
So do I.
Or I should say,
mine, so.
M has inspiration and Gale has inspiration. I don't know about Jen.
I do not currently have inspiration.
So when I decide on inspiration, it's going to be between Jeff and Jen. So consider that as you make your arguments. But again, I want to know what's a thing that you particularly had fun with, and what's a player character that you think put on a spectacularly good time. And I'm going to go top to bottom from what I'm seeing. So I will start with Jen up top.
I cried. It was very good.
If there is one thing I want to be remembered for as a DM, it's that I make my players cry. I still have a picture of Gale wiping her face off after the "I want a short time with you," as opposed to
I wasn't even choking on bread at that time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I interrupted. Jen, please continue.
I mean, it's really hard to say. Like, I will say that everybody was pretty much on the spot. Can I actually give you my props, Rob? Because I know that you came into this with a lot more anxiety than you usually do,
That's
and you
true.
had expressed that to us. And I think that you didn't show that anxiety after that first initial anxious joke you made at the very beginning. And you really rolled into it. You started to really feel it. And you brought us into a scene that made me cry. That made, it made us all cry. It was very good. It was very fulfilling. We went to a point where like this is an important, if side, story point for Echo's story, and it had some important story beats for Calder especially, but also had important stuff for Ghost, and important stuff for Kretha, and important stuff for Echo's father. So I feel like this came together a lot better than I think you probably hoped for.
It
I
definitely
give my props to you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. It didn't move the main plot forward, but that's not the point, right? I got some really, really good advice from a dungeon dude who told me that the most important stories are the stories about you and your characters. Yeah. And that's the story we were telling today, and it was very, very good. And yes, I was feeling anxious at first, but I mean, once I'm in it, I'm in my element. It's like I just started my new school year. July 31st was my first contact with students. I know.
That's so
July 31st, and I'm always nervous and anxious up until I'm in front of the students, and then it's gone. Because
you guys a year-round school, or
no? But summer for us is only 2 months. We have 185 school days instead of 180, and we have some extra breaks scattered around that most schools don't have.
Oh my god, though. That's my old ass is like, what?
Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about Gale.
Yes.
Or let's let Gale talk about what she enjoyed and who she wants to give her inspiration to.
Kind of following on your point of, not moving the main plot forward, between the wedding and then this tangent that when I initially brought it up, I was not expecting us to do this during campaign. I thought, the potential to bring Echo's dad back would be like an epilogue thing, but actually doing it and like following up the wedding with this, and like, because there's kind of the like, oh, we're in a different place, it's kind of like a bottle episode, it doesn't really affect things, but then bringing in the like, no, okay, here's the reality, you actually have a tie to Belak in the overall plot of this, and like it all kind of feeds back into each other. But we got very serious at the end, and so it feels like we needed a beach episode before we head into the final, ramping up to the final conquest, and the wedding in this really kind of filled that for me, and I like that.
Yeah. The next 2 or 3 sessions after this are going to be like the most serious this game is going to be.
Right, we needed a bit of silly, we needed a bit of lighthearted, we needed a bit of what, with not too many consequences attached. And I have to give my props to Jeff. That was, not only, I always love your descriptions of the magic, but also the moments when Calder can't just rely on being like an uppity noble, and he actually has to like make other decisions or be a little humble or be, not just that noble persona is really, I think, where Calder shines, and I think you did a wonderful job of that in this session.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. And that's not just a Calder thing. A lot of the time, player characters sometimes get into the habit of being flippant with NPCs and stuff, and which is fine. It's normal. It's a part of the game, right? But I love seeing player characters or players dig deep and like come up with something really real and put it on display. And for me, that was you describing the moment of loneliness and despair, right? I threw the ball to you and you dunked it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Jeff, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you enjoyed and who you want to give your inspiration to?
Speaking of that scene, the moment of anguish, that was very much like the thing I hinted at for Calder. It's like background noise for him. Like the reason why he became an adventurer was an entire scandal about the death of someone he cared about. And so like it's very much a core part of his motivation that he does not talk about.
Yeah.
And so getting to put that out there in a way that like tells people who have no way of knowing about it, cool, and also like showing a piece of him that has never made an appearance is a lot of fun. I enjoyed the entire death bit. I enjoyed mating the Raven Queen pretty much immediately. Because like I am like Faerunian lore nerd here. I love Forgotten Realms ever since I was in high school. I've had, because of this game, I've had a cause to like go back and just reabsorb giant portions of it again. And so like this lets me like flex a little bit more about like how magic works, how the weave works, how like spirituality, the overly dumb and complicated afterlife that Faerun has. And that's not, none of us are elves. It gets so much worse with elves.
I mean, there's Ghost, but he's a different kind of elf.
Different, though. Ghost is built different.
Yeah, built different there. But critically, and it's like we're tapping the dwarven corner, and like the dwarves also are weird and dumb. Like so much of Faerun's lore is weird and dumb, and I love it because it is just unapologetically stupid.
Yeah, there's. I loved the Salvatore books when I was a kid. I'm glad I read them when I did, because if I read them now, I would think they were dumb.
Oh,
they're a whole different experience.
I have reread them recently, and I can say they hold up ish. The first one's still the best. Drizzt is as cool as you think he is, I promise.
What is just cool as
so
Drizzt
edgy
is.
with the two scimitars, so edge.
My question of, unfortunately, this guy is as cool as he says he is.
But no, like if anything, like he's entirely chill. He's actually written as like a very kind, very helpful, like overly jovial person. He's like, when you read him as an adult, he's not an edgelord at all. That's a thing that's been like shoved onto him.
Yeah.
He's actually like this, like he's a killer and he's a crisp professional, but critically he's very, like whenever you see him in his like private moments, like when he's being his honest self, he is a fucking cinnamon roll.
Yeah, he is, and it's telling that the big traumatic thing that he clings to forever is just a little kid saying "Drizzt." Like,
yeah,
there's other things too, but that's the one he keeps coming back to.
Oh yeah, and it's
anyway.
And so like there are corners of Faerun's lore that are very fun and very stupid, and their afterlife is definitely on the top, near the top of the list. They are so like being able to tap into that, even in its own form, as I am speaking about it with all this reverence and all this respect of, hi, I am a bug about to deliberately walk under the foot of gods, and just hoping they're not stepping. And we're gonna go get a goblin soul, one we're pretty sure no one cares about, and dragging it and trying to convince it ethically to come back to the real world. For why? Because we want to, not because there'll be of true tactical significance, not because of the power, not because they know anything. It's like, no, I might not survive, and that might not survive the final battle, and I want to do this now, so I can.
And your inspiration, friend.
I think I have to hand it to Olivia. The entire reunion, like the hug, the I miss you, Dad moment made me tear up.
Yeah,
it's just very, very touching and effective.
I agree. Em, same questions. What did you enjoy? Who do you think gets the inspiration?
Okay. So I did thoroughly enjoy the whole like world hopping aspects of it. I do like that. That is a thing that I personally enjoy. I liked Jeff's description. I think that it was well done and thorough of the magic.
I agree.
I am. What?
I said I agree.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And the rest is gone. It's gone now. Goodbye.
I said words, and then I made all the words go away. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
We can't expect you to talk and render hair that beautifully at the same time.
That does look incredible.
So
I've been spending a lot of time this month doing art fight, so I've gotten a lot of practice. My inspiration, I want to say, is gonna go to Jeff for the magic bullshit.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. And I am going to go ahead and give it to Jeff. So go ahead and take that inspiration, especially since you blew your you blow your inspiration on the weirdest shit. You're like,
well, that's the weird thing about the thing I love about this mage build. The thing because the build I've wanted to make for the longest time, it is a build where I don't roll shit.
yeah.
Because I have terrible dice luck.
You rolled pretty well today for the most part.
I rolled okay dice luck. I rolled 3. I'll point out that my quote unquote real good roll was a 15. That's generally as good as I ever get.
Okay. So we're really quick gonna
20s.
we're
They're just
really
waiting for
quick.
the final battle.
We're really quick gonna go through pluggables. I'm gonna start with M because you did just mention Art Fight, and I know you've got a lot of artwork recently that folks can go check out. Where can they do that?
If you go on the Art Fight website, I am 1silverkey there. If you go on Instagram, I am also 1silverkey there. I'm all the places. It's the 1silverkey. It's me.
And how about Jeff? I don't know how much you're creating these days, but where can people find you?
As some people can attest, I still do a flock ton of art. I'm just not posting much of it these days.
Nice.
But I do post them occasionally, and if I do, you can usually find me at Still Tired and Angry. All one word, just at Still Tired and Angry on the various things.
Still surprises me to this day that was available, given the time and place that we live in.
I get if whoever has the tag Tired and Angry comes around and decides to gets like banned on something and needs to make another one, I look forward to really annoying him because it will be a hit.
Gail, tell us about your Tumblr.
I have a Tumblr. It's a measure of separation. It's misspelled on purpose. I'll put it in the chat. And yeah, that's where I put a lot of this. The fan art, the fan work, the not canon stuff, the canon stuff, including what the fuck Echo was referencing when he said he's met a dwarven god before. You can find that in the, scroll down a bit and you'll find it there.
The expanded universe, what?
Cut out.
We cut out. Wait. It's still recording, though.
Hey.
Oh, that's so weird. You all are kind of going in and out. Jen, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Awesome. The pictures are doing all sorts of wonky things, but I don't care. Tell us where people can find your art.
Mostly you can find it at the Swedish Geek Ball, or I do have a main art site called winterroseartandillustration.com. So I do need to post a bunch of new stuff. I am working very hard on paintings, like for a show. So, and I just put a show up at my church.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And of course,
it's
you can.
really hot, and I'm trying to paint.
And of course, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, Math Demigod, and you can find the VODs of this stream over at youtube.com/gamingmathematically. I'm still running through Shadow of War, which is a Lord of the Rings game. I'm still running through my latest XCOM campaign, which I lovingly call Killing My Friends. You should definitely go check that out. I'm going to go ahead and end this pretty quick because that little glitch that I just saw makes me a little bit nervous, so I'm going to end the recording. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.